Since Ken is not here, I will bring the City of Daytona Beach Redevelopment Board to order. And would you call the roll, please?
Before you do that, before you do that, my understanding that he is appearing virtual, so he may, was that what you were just informed he was on?
He's virtual.
So actually, the chair is here on virtual.
That's good, because if we need a vote, we've got him.
We have to give him an opportunity to state why he's appeared virtually.
Okay. Ken, are you there? There he is. So why are you appearing virtually?
He was there. He was.
That was brief.
I'm sure our IT person is trying to get it in order.
Okay.
We just can't see him over there.
There he is. Ken, are you with us?
I am, but I can barely hear.
Turn your volume up. Maybe that'll help. We can't.
It's a little
make you out
better.
from this
You're on the
end.
right track. Keep going.
Okay. There's been a question about why you are appearing virtually.
The question is, I am in Prescott, Arizona, at our other Embry-Riddle site.
Okay. So work responsibilities have called you to another side of the country. Glad you're
Correct.
with us. Let's see. So we have a roll call, please.
Mr. Benke?
Mr. Zahn?
Here.
Ms. Cook?
Here.
Mr. Newman?
Present.
Mr. Nicely? Mr. Kamchan?
Here.
Mr. Hunt?
Present.
Mr. Benavente? You have a quorum.
Good. We'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the minutes. Have you all read the minutes from
Sorry.
I have a correction.
the recent, let's see, March 5th?
I've never been on a board that has asked for a motion for the minutes and not a second, so I'm quite sure that that did not happen. So that could be corrected, please, if the person listens to, and I don't know if we need to have who it was or if it was, but if the minutes on the recording can be heard. But there's no way those minutes were not approved.
Okay, we'll go back and review that and correct it for the next meeting.
As I said, I don't know if there's any problem with doing it again if you all have a recollection of the minutes, if it's just approving them. The worst thing happens is you've approved them twice. So you may want to just go ahead and approve them again if you're able, and with a motion and second.
Okay.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of December the 5th, 23?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded a couple of times. All in favor of the motion signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Aye.
We have an opposed? Oh, just a late aye on the, okay. I'm talking fast. Motion carries.
And I think what you're really saying is the new minutes should be subject to that verification of whatever happened at the prior meeting. So the minutes for the new minutes will be subject to verifying what happened in the March meeting.
Okay.
Yes, what happened in the March meeting regarding the minutes. Boy, that sounds confusing.
Thank you.
So, let's see.
And did y'all actually do a motion on
Have
those
we-
minutes yet, or you're not there?
Yeah, I don't think we moved on March 5th.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion to approve the March 5th minutes?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Second, moved and seconded. All in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Oh, that must be Ken that's coming in a little bit late. Okay, so approval of minutes, March 5th, done. Police report? Do we have a police report today? No police report today. Staff reports, 6A, Public Works. 2024-326 downtown redevelopment area.
Yes, so you have a Public Works report in front of you that was sent over to you. I just wanted to highlight a couple of the items that we've been discussing before. So on the first page, you will see the Beach Street streetscape improvement phases. So just letting you all know that we're continuing to do more work throughout the road infrastructures, signs and various things. So you'll see continuous development throughout the remainder of the year. And as we continue to progress with larger projects, we'll continue to bring this to you all's attention. Also, that was brought up in the last meeting, the last couple meetings. Don't really know what page, but if you look in your report, the Public Works report says Orange Ave Trail on City Island between Chamber of Commerce and ISB Underpath. So that will highlight that discussion that we were talking about. So as of right now, that will be going before our commission for a final review, and then also the conversation when it came to the foundation to help with the funding the particular project for the underpass. That's something that is still in discussion, and as we have more development, I will bring that to you all's attention, and we hope to launch an official review before the commission and also undergo another project throughout the remainder of the year. You can find details on that within your report. Also, another item that will be coming up is electric vehicle charger stations that will be installed downtown. So you will see that off of Magnolia and then also City Hall concerning downtown. There are also other areas throughout other redevelopment CRAs that charging stations will be present.
That's a good move.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I had a question about the EV chargers.
Sure.
I noticed that that you bought directly from SEMA Connect as a Sourcewell partner. Is Sourcewell Partners, is that essentially an approved vendor list? Is that how I should interpret that? I'm not familiar with it.
So any of the vendors that are presented, they have to go through a bidding process. And so that was one of the vendors that, if I may, won the bid for this particular project.
What does this term Sourcewell mean, though? I guess that's my question. Is that specific to the vendor, or is that something the city looks at? I can point, I mean, it could be just a silly question. It's on page 14, the top, third bullet. I just was curious if Sourcewell Partners was like an easy way to purchase things or something of that nature. Don't know. Okay.
We'll find out, though. Yeah.
It's not critical. I was just
Okay.
curious when I was going through the moments and,
Yeah.
you know, the minutes,
Yeah.
and I thought maybe I might see something else. It was just a curiosity question.
Okay.
I don't need an answer.
Okay. All right. Do we have any questions concerning the Public Works?
I have one question.
Sure.
In the very first project, the Beach Streets streetscape, it says between Bay Street and Fairview. Have they approved that all the way up to Fairview now? Or my understanding is it was only going to Michigan until they decided what to do with that last little block as far as putting in a roundabout or another triangle or whatever. So where does that stand?
Yeah, so as of now, it is up until Fairview. And so also we're doing a collaboration with Holly Hill as well as, of course, our city when it comes to where the borders stop on the Blue CRA area. So we're, as of now, yes, to answer your question, it has gone up to Fairview. And that's within the report, just a little bit down in the middle, you will see that.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome. Are there any other questions concerning the Public Works report?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Anybody?
I noticed on the Orange Avenue projects, both of them are kind of pending things coming up. What's the status of that county? Curious about that.
So as of right now, I don't have the answer. That's something that's still being dealt with county. So once we have updates, I'll provide those updates to you. It's just right now it's in works communication, and so after the staff has done their part, then we'll be able to present you with more details. A lot of this information in this report is just showing you where we are. It's a lot of pending items, and it's some items just to let you know some things that are up, coming in the near future, or different things that we're negotiating on. So that's just to keep you all abreast of what's going on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question about the EV chargers. Do you know, and I don't know too much about them, but I know that there's like high-speed chargers and like slower speed chargers. Do you know?
That's a good question. That was the first thing that I asked as well. So these are not the high-speed chargers. They're more like the standard
Like
chargers.
45 minutes or something like that?
I don't think it's 45
Or 30
minutes.
to 40? I guess it depends
It's
on how
not,
low
it's
your
the
battery
standard,
is.
right, correct. It's the standard EV chargers.
Okay, because I was just reading, I guess, the other day that very soon, I guess Tesla is opening up their copyright for their, I guess maybe it's like the nozzle or whatever it may be, and that I guess people are, they're more heavily sought after the high-speed chargers, because obviously you don't have to be there forever. At the same token, if we have only a couple and they leave people around to walk around for 30 to 45 minutes, that's also great. It's the right demographic to be walking around, so.
Absolutely.
I was just thinking just as far as staying up, because what I wouldn't want to see is when someone gets in their car and looks at their screen and says, okay, where are the fast chargers? And we install, what is it, $90,000 worth of chargers, and people just go to the block north or south, that's all.
Yeah, and so I'm glad that you brought that up. Also, when it comes to the plug, it is a standard plug as well. I know that there's different type of charging plugs. So everything is the standard EV charging station as well as the plug. And I've definitely love the location because it's in prime locations off of Magnolia, and is encouraging those individuals to come and walk down the shops off of the Beach Street area or surrounding areas downtown.
Sure.
Yeah. Great. Great question. Any other questions? Okay. So I want to also talk about, we're launching our Beach Street security pilot program. So it's April 15th. I know the last time we spoke, it was going to be commenced on the 25th of March, but we wanted to really zone in on certain areas, and we revamped a little bit of the program. So now we'll be launching April 15th. We did a walkthrough on this past Friday. We went downtown and showed the security officers. The security company is First Coast Security. So we are doing it on Beach Street, from Orange Avenue to Bay Street. So a little past Bay Street to target those restaurants on that corner. It will be on the facing of Beach Street and then also behind the building. Again, this is a pilot program, so we'll be doing this for 60 days. And the last meeting, I wanted to highlight some items that was requested in the minutes. So capturing data was a question. And yes, we will definitely be capturing data. There is an app that the security company will be using. So we'll be able to capture data from a daily basis, weekly basis, and a monthly basis. And any type of activity that they see, we'll be able to input that in the data, and then we'll have that information on our end. So our police department is going through a change in their program. So capturing their data that they already have is a work in progress because they're going to a new software. So as we get their data, and then as well as the data from the security company, we'll be able to provide this to you all, to the business owners, to the citizens, and also anyone who's in the area who's interested in knowing what's going on downtown. So, like I said, we did a walkthrough. The security officers are aware of those highlight areas that or the concern areas, and we'll make sure that we'll continue to keep everyone abreast of all the changes. The business owners will be able to have access to the app, so they'll be able to contact or input any activity that they need to input as well. Because as we know, the business owners are always down there, so they see, a lot of times you all see more than what we see because we're not actually in the midst of it. And so having your part as well as the security part and then our part, it makes a great team effort to conquer this particular initiative. Okay? And so, let's see here. Communication, yes, communication with the officers. And then also another question that was brought up was, after the 60 days, what happens? Will it be more coverage? And that's the goal. We want to see what the activity is within these 60 days. And after that, the goal is to make sure the entire CRA, the redevelopment area, is covered with some form of security foot patrol. And that is the goal, because not only the target area for the pilot program has concerns, but other areas throughout the redevelopment CRA has concerns as well. Our other CRA areas in Daytona Beach has some concerns. So our goal is to see how can we strategically map everything out, what strategies can we have that we can use and implement throughout the entire redevelopment area. So definitely want to stress, this is a trial. We really are looking for your feedback throughout this entire process so we can know how we can make it a great outcome long term. Okay? Do you have any questions about this? Because I know this was some questions that came up on the last meeting. Yes.
So the parameters changed, is that basically what I'm hearing now, because you're going to Bay and you're only going behind the buildings, you're not going all the way to Palmetto?
So yes, so that has changed. We're going from we're staying on Beach Street. So
Right.
we're going from Orange Avenue to
Bay.
a little past Bay Street.
Okay.
So there are a couple restaurants that meet up into the post office, so we want to cover those areas as well. We met with them.
Yeah.
That was a concern when we initially talked about going from Orange Avenue to ISB. And so we want to make sure that everyone on that strip for the pilot program is covered. We were going to go a little bit deeper from Beach Street to Palmetto, but with the particular program, it was suggested that we just do this for the 60 days, and not saying that we are not looking at the entire area for the redevelopment, but we are definitely taking that into consideration moving forward.
I totally agree, because I can't stand to go to that post office when I have to mail something that my man, that we can't have our postman deliver and pick up, but it's ridiculous, the panhandlers that are still there, and, it's ridiculous. Nobody wants to go up there. So, but will security have any right to move them on?
So I would like you to express, because
Mr. Gross's sign now.
Yes.
Sorry, Mr. Jackson, you're still Ben Gross today.
Yeah.
So the question is, will the security have any, and I don't know that answer. And I don't have my mic on. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I don't have that answer for you right now. The likelihood is that answer is limited. They can probably say something like, you need to move on, but anything beyond that, I don't, some enforcement would be bringing law enforcement to the level to the extent that law enforcement has powers. We're still reviewing the changes that have come through the legislature on people being out, as well as we're adopting ordinances for the laying down on the sidewalk and those types of things. So that's something that it's there are things changing in the law, and we're constantly just looking at it, and we'll be able to give you a better answer probably, definitely by the time, within the next few weeks at the very most. I'm sure, at the very least, within the next few weeks. I don't have that answer for you today, though.
Okay, because
And I'm sure our legal advisor is looking at that on a daily basis and starting now even to advise law enforcement, but I'm just not privy to the conversations at this point.
Okay, because at the DDA meeting, we also discussed where the old Woolworths building is on the corner, and the people that just conjugate there right now, not blocking a sidewalk because there's that little indentation, well, still, they're bothering people that walk by them, so.
There's limitations, and I'm sure you would understand those. So we just have to find a way that we work within those and still be able to address those problems. And so we're working on that.
Thank you.
This is related to the bill that just went through the legislature regarding outdoor camping and having to
Yes.
provide facilities and so on. So it's a.
Yeah, it's a balance between that.
This.
And in addition to that, there have been some adopted ordinances in other areas that we've kind of brought on as well to the city. And
I remember when it first started, and it was working very well, and apparently we were modeling after a couple of other municipalities that it had held up, and since then something's changed, and so now we've got some additional legislation, so perhaps that can help.
yeah, it's a challenge, as we all know, all throughout the state and probably for the most part all throughout the country now. And everyone's working on ways to try and see how we can deal with the population and still recognizing the rights that they have and still be able to keep satisfy the needs for the businesses and the citizens in the community.
The people that are paying for it, the taxpayers.
Yes.
So that was the security pilot program.
I like to comment. So I think half of our board is probably not on Beach Street. And for the security not to extend beyond Beach Street is a concern. And one of the concerns is, especially where my business is, we have a lot of people who are from out of town. And there have been vehicles that have been vandalized, vehicles that have been stolen. So not having that additional security with at least half of our board members not being on Beach Street is a concern. I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay, yes, we definitely are aware of those changes that are going on and those concerns that you have. And that's why when it comes to this particular program, we're not negating the other areas. We've been in close communication with our police department, so they're fully aware of the other areas of concern. And so we're just capturing that data as best as we can. So I would just encourage, anytime anything happens outside of the security trial area, if you will, just communicate with our local police department so we can capture that data. That's by calling, notifying the police department so we can capture the data, we can put it into our plan that we're developing for the upcoming launch of outside of this pilot program. Okay?
What are the chances of, because Ken is totally correct about the number that are on Palmetto or on Magnolia even, can they not have, if you ever tried to call the police department, you know it stinks, unless you call 911. So could we not get those people, especially the board members, and if they've had trouble at their properties, at their restaurants, at their businesses, that they could call also have the number of the security guard, because they're in direct contact with the police. So is that something that we possibly could do versus, I mean, especially for the board that's representing an awful lot of areas down here, to at least they could call, because if you try and, unless you call 911, and then you're still not guaranteed getting right through to them. Mm-hmm. And the central stations, I've been online over 30 minutes waiting. Well, you know, the person's already gone by 30 minutes, so. Could we look into that possibly?
I can look into it. I will say that based off of the agreement we have is between a certain area for our target pilot program. So I can have a conversation with them, with legal as well as with the security company to see if that's an option. And then also keep in mind because it's a targeted area, there's a targeted amount that is under the city manager's signature. So we want to make sure that we're staying there. If not, if we do go outside of that realm on the financial side, as well as the boundaries, it could cost more, than we will have to bring it before the commission. That would be a little bit of a delay. Definitely concerned about all the areas. I will ask to see what options are available, and I'll keep you all informed.
I'm not asking for the pilot program for those officers to leave Beach Street and leave the pilot area. But if they got a phone call that at Ken's place, a car was being broken into, the person is right there with the walkie-talkie connected to the police department. It would certainly help that his calling and just saying, it's not my vicinity, but it's right here. They're in my my downtown even.
Okay, yes, yes.
So
we can
not
look
to
into
leave,
that.
but just to have the walkie-talkie directly to the police,
Absolutely.
because it doesn't happen otherwise.
Yes, we can definitely look into doing that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hope that helps, Ken.
It does. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And the other board members as well.
All right, any other questions for the pilot program? All right. In the last meeting, we talked about the sidewalk cafe, and the question was brought up what happens with the capacity? That was a question that you brought up in the event of the restaurants meeting capacity or going over their capacity. Right now, the sidewalk cafe is being in staff review. And so after that question has been brought up to staff to see what happens in the event that they're past their capacity level. And so once I obtain an update from staff, then I'll be able to update you all with that. Just to let you know, this process will come before, it's almost complete with the staff review. And after that, it will come before the board in next month, within next month or in June, for you all to review the presentation that I will present concerning the text amendment changes, and then it will go before planning board, and then after that it will go before the commission for changes. So just to let you know, this is coming up. Really excited to see this development happening downtown, and something that will also happen throughout all the redevelopment areas in the city of Daytona Beach. Have any questions about the sidewalk cafes?
I do. Are you looking into their arrangement of tables and whether or not it blocks pedestrian traffic or at least discourages pedestrian traffic? I love having the sidewalk cafes, but there are a few spots where it's difficult to walk through, that you don't have a wide enough berth between the tables to just pass through. You feel like you're walking through their space, when in fact it's a sidewalk, it's a public thoroughfare.
Oh, absolutely. I'm
so
glad that you brought that up, for sure.
That's all I'd like to see, is them arranged where it's easier for pedestrians to navigate.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's why we're making these changes, because of that reason. I've walked down, even before working here as a staff, I would walk down and see like, hey, I feel like I'm just invading while you're eating. And so, and also consistency is key. Our goal in the redevelopment department is to make sure that we're following the strategic plan. And the strategic plan is to make sure that we are beautifying the areas and making sure things are consistent and attractive for businesses to stay there, for tourists to come, and for other people to take pride, residents to take pride in this area. So with this change, we are making sure that consistency is there, the pedestrian walkway is consistent, and we don't have any room for error, because so much can happen if you're trying to squeeze through a table, or individuals, the tables are not consistent with the pedestrian traffic flow. So we are looking into all of that. That's why it's in staff review for all of our departments here. And once everything is updated, I am excited to present it to you all in our next couple meetings. And then we'll definitely get you all's feedback to see what other changes that we need to bring to the table.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have one other comment on that, and it's just to clarify the comment about capacity. And I could be mistaken here, but I want to make sure that the comment that I made about capacity was to ensure that the city has the tools it needs to understand what the proper capacity is for, meaning if my traditional understanding of capacity is it's usually based on a fire principle. How many people can you get out of a building quickly? It's not based on the logistical capacity of a business, the number of fryers it has, how many trash compactors it has, how many walk-ins it has. So the two have to be matched. If you allow a business to go outside its traditional footprint, there's a different type of capacity that I think has to be looked at. That was my comment, is to make sure that the city may have some other tools if it maybe looks at what does capacity mean in the context of what we're looking at. Is it a fire we're looking at, or is it,
Yeah.
you know, can you get trash? Is it piling up on the streets? Or is there enough room to get down the sidewalks, these types of things? That was my
Right.
comment.
All of that was being looked at because once you you meet your capacity inside of a building, like a restaurant, and then you have that overflow capacity with the sidewalk cafes, then you will build up more trash, more movement and all that. So we're looking at all of that. And also in the event of a fire, because the people are outside, they're okay because they can just go across the street. But the people inside, how does that look? What does that look like in the event of emergency? So all the departments are looking at that. Absolutely. We were on the same page with that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other questions concerning the sidewalk cafe? Okay. So we have a new software that will be launching next month. It's called See It, Click It, Fix It. And so I know we brought this up before, but this was in our last city manager's newsletter. And so I just want to highlight that in the next month, the City of Daytona Beach will be implementing a new resource to help citizens become more engaged and involved with their community. So alerting our staff, you would download the app, go to our website, and if you see anything that is storm drains or overgrown lots or potholes, damaging signs, or anything that is concerning, you see it, you click it, and then we fix it.
You're gonna get some interesting photos. You'll get some interesting photos.
Oh yes, that's what we talked about in our training, and that's something that we know that we'll get. But like I stated earlier, everything is a team effort. We're not in all of the places, but our goal is to make sure that we're making our citizens, our business owners, even our tourists comfortable and want to keep coming back. We take pride in the experience, and that's the ultimate thing. The goal is to make sure the experience here in the city of Daytona Beach is great. So if you see it, we encourage you to see it, click a picture, upload it, and then we'll go into the queue. And so how the queue looks is just how it is. If there is a pothole or a damaged sign, it will go to the responsible department, and that department has a certain amount of time to address the situation. And then you, as the person that input that information, you can see the tracking progress. So you can see, okay, someone accepted it, someone is working on it. And even if you didn't input that information, if you know that something is going, like you drove by another day and saw that, hey, a sign was down, and you can go in there and check to see if someone is addressing the situation. So there won't be any double submissions, because it will let you know that this has already been addressed and you can see the progress. Okay?
When is this launching again?
Next month.
Next month?
Yes. Okay, so this is with anything. You'll see different options. That's just a couple things that I said about the drainage and different stuff like that. If you see any type of situation, you have options on there. Of course, there is an other, and you would put that in there. And like I said, this is something new. So as we see more people suggest different input under other, we'll start making that a tab. So just continue to use it. I encourage everybody to use it. Definitely call us. You have access to us, of course, as far as with staff. But if you can document it so we can know the activity and keep everything centralized, that would be really great. And tell a friend.
What can we do in the meantime?
Oh, in the meantime, just call us. Call the departments, the responsible departments, or if you don't know what
I don't
department.
always know what the response. I'm thinking about the Golden Magnolia, which is kind of sitting empty now and looks like it's going to seed. That's an important historical building in this town, and it's starting to look really bad. neighbors are telling me that the windows are just being left open weeks on end.
Take a picture.
The yard is
Because
overgrown.
You could send them anytime. Once you have that electronic, if we had an email site, that might be something to do too, is an email where you can, instead of a website, to click them. Because the photo's good anytime, and if the website comes into operation in May and you still have that photo, you could still update that photo, load the photo. So that's something that could be done in the meantime. You're preserving those items that need some work.
Right.
And I would suggest that we take photos of things that work.
Yes.
Because if you've got some success stories, I happened to take ISB yesterday. I was going eastbound and I saw the big sign about Daytona beautification, and the right-of-way is all clean. And I thought, well, I'm seeing something happening. I avoid that area because it's kind of a mess right now. But, you know, as things happen, I think it's a positive note to show that we've got some good things going on.
Absolutely. Thank you. And also, if you don't know the department, you can reach out to me, and I'll just either tell you what department, or just if you email it to me, I'll CC you on the responsible department, because that's why we're here to as support as well.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions about this new app that's launching? All right, so we have new businesses. Oh, you were going to say something?
No, I said that's very progressive.
Okay. We have new businesses coming often, and this is exciting. It's very rewarding to have to approve a BTR. That lets me know that somebody else is interested in coming downtown or to the Blue area. So I just wanted to bring that to you all's attention. I've gone to a few ribbon cuttings, and then we also have businesses who are transitioning out. But as many businesses transitioning out, we have businesses coming right in. So that's very exciting. I know that you all have a copy of a directory inside of the packet. So that is a very fluid document. So that was developed on last month, actually a little past last month, and all those changes are updated on the website. So if you want to know anything that goes on downtown, you can go to the riverfrontshopsofdaytona.com. A lot of the information is there. That website has all the shops and restaurants or anything that's going on downtown. You can see the updates. So the directory that you have, there has been changes since then, but the new changes reflect online. Okay, so I just wanted to let you all see that directory so you can see that that's something that is going on the kiosks that are downtown. That is something that you can have access to if you want to know what's going on in a quick view. You can see that, but the goal is to make sure that we have a couple pages of a directory so we can have a lot of businesses that are on there. Any questions with this directory or the website?
But was this brochure printed in February, though?
That was the most recent one that I received this past month.
Okay, because there's so many businesses that are closed that are on here. New
Right.
businesses have gone in. I mean, Copperline's been more than 6 months down on Beach Street, and they're left off.
So this is,
And so, but I didn't know because this is obviously, this is paid for with CRA money? I forget, or is it a part of our budget with the DDA?
it's a part of the budget with the DDA, and that was the approved brochure that everybody voted on in the DDA.
But is Keith Gold the one responsible for getting them to change, to be on the website then? That we go to him about the errors and the things?
Right, just like I stated, it's a fluid document, and so the most updated is on the website. And so I did notice that a couple of them, after everything was already submitted out, we have more businesses that are coming in, and the more updated information is on the website. He's working on the more updated brochure, and that won't come out until sometime in the summer. to give it time for new businesses to come in, get settled, as well as those who are transitioning out. So you will see some businesses on there that are no longer in existence, or some new businesses that just came in, because directories is one of those situations where it's a little fluid because we have businesses coming in and out. So we hope to have a more concrete directory. I would just, for the sake of expectations, probably towards the fall. And that's still you're still going to hit and miss on some businesses.
Okay. Ken, I don't remember when, in our budget on the DDA, when we get the larger poster printout of showing the businesses versus the brochure here or the rack cards that have it. Is that going to go back into are we going to do that back in the kiosk again? Or
Yes, we are, but I don't remember last year when we did the last print.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember. I know we did it, but because we had a whole host of them that Keith took out to the hotels on the beach side, and I mean, I think we had plenty too for the Halifax Arts Festival as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, do we have an update on when the kiosks are going to be improved or refurbished or something?
So we've had Public Works come out and clean them. So they clean them. It looks a lot better. You can see straight through them. Also, they have been updated. So we go out and update the information that is on there. And so that's something, I believe it happened today or tomorrow. That's when they're putting the updated poster. Is today. Oh, I already have it. Thank you, Mandy. So it's already done. But as far as the look, it looks a lot better. You can see through it. It's very clean. And so we're hoping to continue to keep that up until we have our digital kiosks.
Okay.
And so new projects are coming up as well. We have a lot of developers who are interested in the downtown area as well as the Blue CRA area, which is great. So going back to our strategic plan, making sure we have more residential housing, more commercial businesses, and different improvements. That's what we have developers coming to us and who are interested in doing just that. We have new development with Accent, which is off where the First Baptist used to be, that area. So we looked at that development. It looks amazing. I'm excited about that. That is going to be coming up soon. So we have a residential housing. So it's about 304 units that will be there with a swimming pool, also an area that will have an opportunity for businesses, more parking. So that's an additional 346 parking spaces that will not only be inside of that complex, but on Palmetto as well as Bay Street. So not only is it doing a huge facelift for Palmetto, but also Bay Street as well as Ridgewood and International Speedway. So that is really exciting to see that come into fruition. Of course, Framework, that's another development that is on Beach Street on the residential side. But with this particular project, Project Accent, which is also called Delta West, this project has a combination of housing, parking, and also business opportunities on the retail side. So that's just one project of other projects that are coming up, which is really exciting to see, as well as in the Blue area, we have interest as well. So you will start to see more development within the coming year. So hopefully more people will be interested in doing that, and we'll take pride in making sure that the areas that are not as charming to the eye will start to become more charming to the eye. More businesses come into the area, more residents coming into the area, that means more traffic flow. Means more people who will spend more money within the downtown area, which increases our revenue, which is awesome. So any questions about that?
When are they looking at breaking ground on that project?
Say that again?
Are they planning on breaking ground on that project, Accent?
I believe at the end of the year, they look to break ground, but I'll keep you informed on the exact date.
I have a question about the North and the Bullock Avenue area. I think one of the previous meetings, you mentioned that how that might develop is changing a little bit, and you also, I know you have a strategic plan, but you also have some latitude within the strategic plan. What type of development interests are you getting up on that end now? Is there a hope for residential up there, or is it going to be pretty much industrial?
Are you saying in the Blue area?
Yes, yes.
So that's a great question. Of course, right now it's industrial for the most part, but we have interest on the residential side. Residential is an option. You can always change an area if you have enough input. So residential is an option. Keeping it industrial is an option as well. As of right now, we don't have anything concrete, so it's all conversation. So if it were left up to me, I would like to see a combination of both, and you can make a combination of both work for the area. Any questions? Okay. All right, so you have a couple events in your packet. There is an upcoming job fair, and there's also upcoming activities, and just also wanted to circle back around to encourage you all, if you want to know of any activities that are going on downtown, please visit that website. DDA has done a great job with providing an avenue for information. So going to the website, which is riverfrontshopsofdaytona.com, and also visiting our city's website to know any upcoming events that are going on downtown. There's always something going on, so I encourage you all to visit either website, the Riverfront website or the City of Daytona Beach website, to know what's going on. We have upcoming programs, and I'm closing out. I know it's a little bit long of a report, but just want to make sure you all know all of the moving parts that's going on in the department. So we have an upcoming program called the Business Development Program. It's the Triage Program. And this particular program is an extension of the Business Summit, the Accelerate Business Summit that we had this past February. This triage is exactly what it sounds like. You know, when you go to a hospital or any type of medical facility, you go through a triage, doing an assessment. So this is what this first phase of the business development program will be doing, an assessment of businesses. It'll start off with 60 targeted businesses that register for the program. They would do an assessment to make sure that they are, whatever needs that any businesses or nonprofit organization need, they will assess, make sure that they're providing those needs to the businesses and nonprofits, and then making sure that they're able to sustain and be successful here in the City of Daytona Beach in our redevelopment areas. The next is Pitch Your Idea. It's also an extension of the Accelerate Business Summit, and is exactly what it sounds like. It's like a Shark Tank. They come with an idea, and they will have to pitch it to see whoever will win. There will be top winners. They will win money, prizes, and any type of resources to help them to sustain here in the City of Daytona Beach. And we have upcoming programs as well. We're revamping our grant programs and other resources for our redevelopment areas. And that's all that I have. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Questions or comments?
I actually kind of wanted to go back just to make a statement real fast. One more thing, I just keep thinking about the EV chargers.
Okay.
And just one thing I was going to say is only because it says here, you know, the end is that several vendors were reviewed and that SemiConnect was selected to provide the chargers to the software that would give the city a return on investment opportunity. The first thing I think of is, and again, from my experience in restaurants and stuff like that, is if you have a Coca-Cola machine or whatever, you know, Coca-Cola gives you that machine because you're going to be then buying that product. If you have a pool table or jukebox at a bar, sometimes you'll work out what the cost may be to use it, but always there's some sort of split with the profits and stuff like that. clearly they're going to be charging people to use these stations. I just want to make sure that we're negotiating properly about if we should be paying anything to get them installed, or if we just giving them the opportunity to have their business is enough for them, or then if we do have to pay for all the initial costs, what kind of are we getting the good deal afterwards? Are we getting any percentage on their earnings and stuff like that? Because it is it's a public space that we're giving them the opportunity to be a part of. So mutual beneficiality is really what I'm looking at.
Okay. I will find that information out and have it for you in our next meeting.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, I guess we're opening it up for public comments. Any public comment? Any board comment?
I do. I have a question. A business person came to me yesterday at Rotary and asked me what was the situation of my building flooding, because he's interested in buying a building downtown that's got buildings or retail down below and offices up above on Beach Street. And he was told that they had slight flooding when they had when the people had the tape that they put across it that you buy online or something like that to keep it from flooding. I had also mentioned that we had the hurricane shutter, plus we had the sandbags. But he was saying also that because of where they are on Beach Street, that Palmetto was still not having was still having problems with the flooding, and consequently it going through the large parking lots and then still coming in some of these people's back doors. So he's asking me if we had used those. I think you and I talked about those, Pete, where they come up and block it like a wall that comes out of the.
It's like a drop-in panel, goes for any door openings below water level. And the drop-in panel is waterproof. So it's just like piling up sandbags, but it's much quicker and more efficient. And it's like a storage on shutters on a window. You can store these and then bring them out, drop them in when there's a flooding event anticipated.
But when Palmetto was doing that work recently, did that alleviate? I mean, I couldn't even tell the guy that, I know you're interested in buying this and it'd be a great investment for you and blah, blah, blah. And for him to move his offices down here eventually with the leases getting ready to go up. But when they did all that at like Palmetto and Magnolia, and then did that alleviate some, or is it also coming from?
I don't believe so.
We get it on the other side when it comes out from the river and comes up and then just flows down Magnolia.
And I happen to know the answer to that.
Okay, go ahead.
Because we do a lot of flood prevention and flood analysis and so on. And the problem is the river elevation is up. All the pipes that drain into the river are it's a backwater condition. So the water's trying to flow in an inlet. The weight of the water, it's called the head on it, is pushing down to push the water through the pipes out to the river. But the river water level is so high, it's static. So you notice Magnolia flooding, there'll be 3 or 4 inches of water over the crown of the road at the lowest point on Magnolia. That's because all those inlets can't drain. When the northeasters have dropped or the wind offshore has dropped and the water level starts to drop in the river, then it allows all that water to run out to the river. And there is there is a potential way to prevent that, and that's to put duct bills on the discharge pipes, just like taking a balloon and cutting it off so that water will only flow one way. It flows out towards the east, but it can't flow back towards the west. So when the water rises, it can't flow up into Beach Street. but you're still limited by how much storage there is inside the pipes. So it takes a vast stormwater retention area to put that water in there on a temporary basis. There isn't any place for it on Beach Street. It's the parks. Esplanade and all that, they're the only place that's available for stormwater.
So I understand that with Magnolia, but when the city was doing all that on Palmetto, was that alleviating any of that with the stormwater down there, or with the, like when the sunk pumps behind Brown and Brown a couple years ago with the hurricane? I mean, I'm just trying to answer this guy a question because he's really, he's good piece of property that's gonna, but he's just worried, what am I gonna have to do so I don't have all my tenants downstairs flooding? So, but did any of that work that was done at the corner of Palmetto and Magnolia and that road do anything towards that, or not necessarily?
I would have them to reach out to Andy, our assistant city manager over at Public Works, because that was his project, and he definitely would be able to tell him, what were the results of that improvement. And we have Andy's phone number and contact that we can send you so you can forward it on.
Okay, thank you.
On this topic, though, it's not going to get any better. I mean, we all know that. I mean, we're talking decades now. I mean,
Yeah, we got to come up with something.
what you've described as a bowl, right? Essentially, with backflow preventers, one solution, temporary, lift stations, pump it out,
Yeah.
put it back in the river. More money.
Oh, here's
okay?
what happens when you pump it in the river. Where does that one?
Well,
go? Right
if you,
back to the-
exactly, it depends on how deep your bowl is, right? And how, so do you build up, a levee? And then do you start pumping more? I mean, the city at some point in time
We've
is
got
gonna
a
have to
levee.
look at a long-range plan about how they're
We've got a
gonna
levee,
handle
but the
this.
pipes underneath it are where the water is coming in and up.
Yeah, I haven't looked at this. I know the city has. I've heard, the hundreds of millions of dollars that would cost to solve the issue in this. But it is not going to get any better. And this downtown, I mean, New Orleans is, how much money have they put in over?
It's happening in Miami Beach because the water levels are rising. And now the same thing that's happening on Magnolia happens in Miami Beach on a much grander scale. It's just
It may not be
washing right.
comfortable to do it, but at some point, the city has to have a very serious conversation. I'm sure you all have already, but what do we do about 30 years from now? I mean, we got to put a stake in the ground at some point or other and say, we got a problem. And we're looking at symptoms right now. We're trying to bail out areas. That ain't going to work in 15 years.
You
So,
can't treat the symptoms. We've got to come up. It's really what it's going to take is a very expensive regional stormwater study.
well, you do have,
Probably done some, but
you do have the benefit of geography in terms of the inlets. I mean, if you look at the way Venice is doing, but I don't think you have the economic base to justify it because of the cost associated. Maybe Miami does. But somehow or other, you've got to be able to come up with some type of solution to prevent the stormwater surges that are going to be coming. Because it's just going to back right up at the Halifax. I mean, I've got 6 feet from my door down to the high water. That's all I've got. And when the storm surge came over there, boy, I tell you, I was looking at, my neighbors were under, their floors were under. And my house was built in 1915, 1920 or something of that nature on the highest ground down on South Beach. It's not going to get any better. So
no, it won't.
I can lift mine, but I've looked into 150 grand to lift a house. Never mind the backyard. I can't do anything about it. That's another 100,000 just to put in fill. So imagine trying to do that on a citywide basis.
So I had a business on Palmetto. Its finished floor elevation was 7. The base flood elevation for a 100-year event was 7. And it flooded once, where it backed up in just exactly like what you're talking about. One time I took blue tape, taped the door, no water got in the building. Other time I didn't think it was going to happen, didn't do it. had 6 inches in there. It's not a lot, but all the furniture ruined in that 6 inches. So,
I would,
takes a bigger study.
absolutely. I will also encourage the gentleman to go through our TRT, which is our technical review team, and any questions that he would need if he wants to go that direction as far as having a business come through. He can do that, like Ken suggested, contacting Andy directly and asking him questions. But as far as that process, the TRT will definitely help him. All of the departments are there. They'll ask all those questions, and any questions that he has as well that's targeted to that particular area, they'll be able to address it.
Okay. And Ken, you're going to get me that
Yes.
information. Thank you very much.
I was looking on a different note. I was looking forward to hearing from the Embry-Riddle students. Did I miss something in that regard?
Yes, so the Embry-Riddle students, we had to reschedule their presentation. Just so you know, we're doing a collaboration with them. So there are students, 3 students from Embry-Riddle in the research department. So they have the City of Daytona Beach as their client for a particular class project. And they are capturing data throughout the CRA areas and finding out details about the businesses, what needs the businesses have, and then also how we can help them, the businesses, improve and be able to sustain long-term in our redevelopment areas. So they're capturing data for us, and they'll be able to present that information in the near future.
Excellent.
And with this particular collaboration, this also shows Embry-Riddle that we have a lot of job opportunities here on the local government side and that they weren't aware of. So it was a great experiment to have the students collaborate with us, and their interest in local government has shifted, and they're more interested now in working with local government for the future.
I don't know about the pay though. You know, it's a big difference between what they're getting at corporate and what they may be offered with the city. But it's an opportunity.
Definitely, when you have a heart for your community, like a lot of us here and on the staff side, you don't look at that part of it. So yeah, you always look to see how you can improve your community, and that's what some of the students, not all, Mr. Hunt, but some of the students, yeah, they were definitely looking on the local government side.
Cool. If that's it, we're going to stand adjourned.
Thank you.